Welcome to the 2015 mid-season M&S report. I'd like to welcome my co-commish and partner in crime and brother, Sam Sutton. Come on down.
Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're in our new confines. Wow, is there a lot to talk about?
Well, we're at the mid-season point right now. We haven't spoken since early on. Before we get everything started, I'd like to wish a happy birthday to our number one fan, Feely Dweck, and
happy birthday, Feely.
Now Hamra, married to Jimmy Hamra, and they watch and they're number one viewers of our show. And it was their birthday this past week, and we'd like to extend our congratulations to the birthday wishes.
Happy birthday! Happy that we have some good fans.
Yes.
Now, because there's so much to talk about in this mid-season report, we always have a lot to talk about. There's a lot of storylines. We came up with the concept. Well, we didn't have the concept. It's from ESPN.
We kind of took the concept from P.T.I, that famous show, Pardon the Interruption. We're going to spend 2 minutes, and we have the timer right over here, on every single team. If we go overtime a little bit, we'll give ourselves some leeway, but we're going to try to keep it within 2 minutes.
7 teams times 2, you could do the math.
Right, so I think let's just get the party started.
All right.
We're going to start from first place down to last place.
Okay.
The good part of this is the last place team still is a big talking point because there is that last playoff spot is up for grabs.
Well, we're going to get into that. My goodness gracious, how tight it is, even with teams that
All right, let's go. Let's get it started.
Anyway, Legends of the Fall.
Legends of the Fall.
First thing, I have to say, I'm going to eat my... I'm going to say I was wrong.
Okay.
The first thing we said at the beginning of the year was Mark Cohen, and I said there's no way.
Right, and I remember I said that Mark Cohen was actually pitching well in Brooklyn,
yes.
And guess what? Today in the World Series in Brooklyn, he pitched like 13 consecutive shutout innings. He lost, unfortunately, but he's pitching great.
Right, it wasn't his fault their team lost. He pitched out of his mind.
Right, so Mark Cohen's pitching well. He's doing his thing in our league as well. And, listen, Mark Cohen, as long as he does that, they had just enough in their lineup to be a winning team. And obviously, look at their record.
The other question on that team was defense.
Right.
David Richty, it's funny, their defensive alignment is definitely different than we assumed it was going to be. Allie Marshall put himself back in the outfield and said he does not like the infield.
Okay, I mean, once he did that, I think it set up their defense nicely as long as David Richty plays a good shortstop.
There you go. Their outfield right now is great. They have Allie in center. You don't need to explain, he's great out there. Leo Picciotto is having a great year.
Renaissance man, Leo Picciotto. I think he is the reason, aside from Mark Cohen, why their team is where they are right now. Look at their record, look at his numbers, and I guess it goes hand in hand.
He's playing a Gold Glove left field, made a couple of web gems, not just web gems, in key spots in games.
Right, flat out diving plays.
Big plays in close games. So he was and he's hitting great in the leadoff spot. And locking down left field, having Allie in center. One of the question marks as the season goes, a surprise was Bush in right field.
Right, and Bush is doing his job in right field.
Doing his job, but he's working with a nagging quad injury, which is something that their team is going to eye on because he's very important for their defensive line.
Well, they do have guys like Benny Richie that are always asking for some plays in the field, so
he's holding his own.
There's always enough to go around for everybody.
Well, again, it's like what we said. We have the 12, and everybody's getting their spots to shine. But Sammy mentioned David Richty. He's a big linchpin in holding down the defense. Avi Dweck's playing a very good second base.
He's also hitting like an animal.
He always does, yeah. He's hitting great. But you know what? I can tell you from week 1.
All right, there it is, the 2 minutes.
But the team is doing great. They earned themselves to be in first place.
All right, now we're going on to the team number 2 in second place, which is winner.
Chicken
Dinner. So now here we go.
So we start. This is a team that has a lot of veterans. And I guess, should we be surprised that the top 2 teams have the guys that have always been there?
It's more than veterans. They have like 4 former captains on this team.
Right.
They have Ike Mavora.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the actual captains.
Right.
Ike Mavora
is playing center field this year.
Maurice Haber, Ray Esses, and obviously Norwood himself. Those are 4 captains in this league previously.
Wow.
And let me tell you, the veteran leadership on that team is obviously doing something right.
I think it may help Ralph Hannon in the long run.
That's the point right there.
Everybody knows and everybody says Ralph Hannon during the regular season mows everybody down. He's incredible. And guess what? He's showing it again.
Right, this past week, Ralph Hannon, he won Player of the Week. And I'll tell you, he did give up more runs than he has given up in the past week. But I'll tell you, I think it was one of the best pitched game 1 and game 2 that I've ever seen Ralph in my career.
And a very good thing on this team to see is Jordy Rameld is here to play.
Listen, when Jordy is in a good spot mentally, we know Jordy can be and is one of the best players in the league.
Last year, he was on a train wreck of a team. Stuff didn't work. He played every week. He played hard for 2 different teams. But I think he's in a better situation
Right.
now. He's, like you said, with a lot of veteran type people that know the game.
So between the mix of young, good
Right.
talent and Ralph and Jordy with the veterans on
Sonny
this team.
Braha.
Right,
Nice
and
rookie.
another, Sonny Braha was also coming into this league. Norwood took him high in the draft and he put a lot of stock into him. And guess what? So far, so good. Sonny Braha in left field is making almost every single play. They're leading him off. He looks good at the plate as a rookie.
Sam Loudon, always good in right field.
Right.
We always say that, and we're always right. In the night league.
Night League, Sam Loudon locks down right field
He really
better
is.
than everybody. He's a
Really is.
former Gold Glove winner.
Right. Now, it's interesting. The first 2 seeds, everybody talking about the same thing. Mark Cohen's been great, but when's that shoe going to drop? And everybody says it about Ralph, too. He's the mow-down, unbelievable regular season pitcher, and everybody says, wait for the postseason. I believe these guys are really top.
Right, as do I. Let's move on to the
to
third
3.
place team, which is the Curse
Of the
Bellino. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about this team.
A lot. This is a pleasant surprise.
Right, so the Curse of the Bellino dropped their first two tight contested games where they could have won both.
Against the top team.
Right, against the number ones. And then after that, they got a very favorable schedule, and they ripped off 4 straight wins. And then going into this past week, they had a very big matchup.
Against the Left Sharks.
Right, against the Left Sharks, who are a very tough out. People don't give them enough credit, that team.
They're good. They're a good team.
So,
Good defense.
and I'll tell you one thing, that team, they are winning. They do have great players from left to right to the infield, but they're always one fight away of exploding. And
Well, Michael Solomon, not Savon, as we call him.
so he's a great captain at some point, and also there's a lot to where he has to work
Right.
on.
Sometimes he leaves things be. Oh, let them take care of it themselves.
Right.
Part of the thing of being a captain is leading the ship.
But you know,
Is taking care. I would say Joe Torre was a great captain. Why?
'Cause he
he'd
was-
have to go tell Paul O'Neill what to do.
he dealt with egos.
He dealt with egos.
But I don't think that should be the main story point at
No,
the midway
it's
point
not.
because listen, they're a winning team. Saul
They're a
Cohen's
solid
doing this thing.
Saul's doing what
Aaron
he does.
Dweck is doing what,
Oh, that's-
especially what they thought he was gonna do when they drafted
Exactly.
him.
Well, he almost hit one over the wall last
Right,
week.
he won
It's
off the
top
wall. Michael Cohen's being Michael Cohen in
He's
center
an MVP
field.
candidate.
Shimmy Cohen's playing a very solid shortstop.
Hey, Santa, Shimmy started great at short this past week or 2. He's been
He had
getting
a
little
few
bit
innings,
shaky.
where he wasn't good, but
He's a question over there a little bit. Now, Ricky Schwecky's playing a solid defensive. No, he's not Ricky.
Third
Morris
base.
Rary, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Morris Rary
Rari's
at
been a
third
solid
base.
defensive third. Second base.
and DT.
DT is
So
phenomenal.
DT up until this past week, as you can see in the highlights, he was playing Gold Glove second base. He had
Yeah, a little bit of a weak day.
but I think they actually lost the game because of a play here or
I was
there.
thinking about his fiance.
But listen, that game, that team, they definitely have the talent to win the
They
championship.
do. Ralph Sutton on the mound in this league.
He's listen. Ralph's ultra competitive.
Yes.
I think he's got to tone it down a little bit.
He's got a little
in
fire
order
under him.
in order to win. I think he has to tone it down a
To
little
keep the
bit.
team together.
Exactly.
Right.
But listen, they definitely have
They're a
the,
contender.
they have the ingredients to win. They're a team that everyone should be at least looking out for.
I think defensively, all around, these guys may be the most solid team.
Right, they're strong. Now let's go on.
Position by position.
Let's go on to the 4th seed at the halfway point, which is
The Left Sharks, I believe.
The Left Sharks?
Yeah.
okay. So the Left Sharks at 2 and 4. Here we go.
Left Sharks are a team. Now it's funny, they might not even be categorized as the 4th seed because some people didn't play as much. But we'll go with the Left Sharks. They're a very balanced team. A.B. Franco, I'll say first off,
Right,
is
not only
what hits me.
not only you,
defensively.
everyone's saying around the league, A.B. Franco is turning heads defensively at shortstop.
Something
So-
he always played okay shortstop. He's doing even better than that.
And the way they have their defensive line, they have Jackie Haber playing a short center,
Unbelievable.
more as a shortstop. So,
Correct.
and then they have Ricky Schwecky, as you mentioned before, playing a very strong third base.
Very strong. So,
So you
yeah,
have 3 young players.
Jackie Haber, even though it's short center and some people neglect it, he's anchoring that infield.
No, he's also
Short
playing
center
short
field.
center as a deep shortstop.
Right.
So you have
He
3
gets all
left
those
side of the
loops.
infield players, and then you have their outfield.
I forgot who the second baseman is, but once it hits me, we'll get
Right.
back to it.
Then we have Freddie Hittery, obviously
On the
pitching.
mound,
Freddie's
he's
a
a
very
strike thrower.
He's a young kid, but he pitches like a veteran. When he has an 0-2 count, he throws a low and away, makes you pop it up. Freddie does a great job on the mound for a young
It
kid.
makes people lunge. He
Right.
true this. He's a strike thrower.
Oh, what do you mean? Second base, that Frisia, who's playing great.
He's playing great.
Exactly,
That's right.
yeah.
Jonathan Frigia, pleasant surprise.
Their
He's
infield is actually top notch
Very
infield
good.
defensively.
very strong.
Um,
And David Harari at first base is a great first
Correct.
baseman.
Left field, center field, you have the brothers, Bobby and Natan Safdie. Bobby started picking it up offensively this week. Natan's been Natan, as he was supposed to be
Right.
from day one.
They played 3 weeks. Week 1 he was great, and this past week, that middle week he had a really weird good kid.
Listen, it is some people have off weeks, but
Right.
Tom is
But he
doing what
came
he's
to
doing.
play. He came to play the other night.
Hitting home runs, running around the bases, playing
great
good outfield,
defensive, right.
and
Right field, Joey Levy's holding his own.
Joey
as he always
Levy
does.
and a couple of really big hits this past
Yes,
week in that
he did.
extra inning game.
Yeah, opposite field line drive in a major spot.
And let's not forget about Azachi. This kid, Mo Azachi, was acquired as a throw-in in the trade,
Last pick in the whole draft.
and he's actually anchoring their lineup, batting sixth. And he's I got two big clutch hits this past
He
week.
was the game-winning run.
Right,
Game-winning
so
run in that first game.
That's for the left Sharks,
right.
and now we're going for the 15 we're going to be talking about, which is the fifth
So
seed.
I do like these left Sharks. I know a little overtime. They're better than people think. Just to say it
I think
way.
that team, they also could
And
win
I
it all.
love Jackie Haber on that
Let's
team.
move on to the 15.
What was the 15?
Fifth, we have 5, 6, and 7. We know
Is
7.
it club going up?
6, no.
Yeah, it
No,
is.
club going up. Okay, so one of the biggest,
coming up.
already up until now, one of the biggest surprises of the league to date is the undefeated Legends of the Fall falling to the winless club going up.
Now, the winless club going up is a little extreme because they were only 0-2, but that 0-2 was a strong 0-2. I had people on the team questioning, saying, Max, Sammy, let them have whoever they want. Let them bring JT and Gabe Abadi on
Let
their
them
team.
have Joseph Ferrari and Stephen Gindy
Let
and
them have
Nathan
whoever
Dash.
they
Let
want.
them have
Let
them
them
all.
come because
They
need,
suck.
Right? They need all the help they can get, and don't worry, they're still not going to win. They came that next week. They willed themselves to a win, a 4-3 win against the number one seed.
And from what I was told, those are the game tying run was in scoring position.
On second base.
On second base for David Rischi, and Eddie Nissim buckled down and struck him out on 3 pitches.
Right,
So,
now questionable third pitch, but you know what?
anything
They're all
close. Anything
and
close.
We're talking the bottom of the 7th. Here, I can't quote on the show what Michael Solomon, Savon, was saying after the game. That entire game, I think that team had 3 double plays in that game.
Right.
In big spots with
Listen,
runners.
their
on
team
base.
obviously does have the ingredients to win a game here or there.
Right.
I'm going to put the over-under on this. Will they get 2 more victories? The over-under set at 2. What do you take? The over or
I'm
the
still
under?
taking the under.
I'm taking. Well, how many games left? They have another
plenty.
8 more. I'm taking the over.
Now,
I'm
I
saying
know
2 as the over-under. I'm
They're 1
taking
and
the
3.
over.
They're 1 and 3. They have a little ingredients. We didn't go through names on the team, but I will say Sammy Shama is playing an excellent shortstop.
Right, and
not just a good shortstop.
Going
People
in,
say,
that was a
"Wow."
big question on their team. Can Sammy Shama handle shortstop?
I've heard people on the opposing team saying this kid's range is better than everybody in the league
Well,
right now.
he reluctantly moved to shortstop. He wasn't even initially
He's a
starting at
strong
short.
arm, and he's playing mind games.
Listen,
with
bottom
the
line
team.
is the question on that team is what's going to be with their 2 pitchers.
Right, it's a
Eddie
good question.
Nissim pitching a very good game 1. Game 2, you have Ike Malice Sons not getting the job done early on.
Is he going to do it in the
Well,
future?
I know they're going to give him at least 1 more shot, and let's see how that pans
I
out.
hope he does pan out. I hope he does
As
it right.
do I. As do
But
I.
defensively, and Albert Dweck in center field is a true center fielder.
Albert DeWeck, he's a bona fide stuff.
Defensively, they're holding their own. They have some question marks, which is still why I don't think. At the end of the day, I don't think they're going
And now we're going to go on to the 6th seed, which I believe is Summer of George.
Yeah, well, 6 and 7 are both 0-4.
Right,
so.
but if-
Summer of George. We're gonna go
Let's talk
Summer.
about Summer of George. Okay, so Summer of George, Morris Caston's squad, they also were a late team to start the schedule. But, going in, their lineup seems like as if there is not a lot of holes.
Wow, and their main hitters in the lineup, it seems like murderers row.
Right.
Having Morris Casson, Jimmy Malak, David Farka,
And then you
now
have the Suicide Bombers.
right now this kid.
And yet-
So then I want to go into that a little bit.
And you have
Steven
Joe
Shepard.
Greenberg now.
And Joe Greenberg was an addition because Mr. Shrem, as he tore
Yeah, Mark
ACL.
Shrem tore PCL or MCL before I show him up.
Joe Greenberg, maybe not the same outfielder that Shrem
But
is, but he's a great
I'll
bat.
tell you, he's a better bat than Shrem is.
Okay.
So now, no, factual. He's not as good as an outfielder defensively, but he's definitely a better bat.
So they have a real lineup.
And then
now.
you have the Suicide Bombers.
Right. So now it's funny. On those Suicide Bombers, I only saw the shortstop, which is Steven, I believe.
Right, so now going into the draft, Steven was supposed to be the star, and Ruven was supposed to be,
Throwing.
let me get him at the end, guys, don't worry.
Right.
Well, I already saw them twice, and from what I saw both times, Ruven is a professional, they call him Ruby. He's a professional hitter, goes the other way. He's actually, to me, I only saw the kid Stevie once,
Right,
but
me too.
Ruby is really polished hitter.
This kid.
So, and they just got him in the last round.
He could flat out rake. He
So-
got robbed at the end of this game to win a game, actually.
Right, and from what I saw, Stevie could play shortstop defensively, so I think that team is a lot better from what they're showing.
Okay,
It
now-
all comes down to the shoulder of Jimmy Malak.
To give Stevie a little credit, to give him a little slack, I would say, he didn't have the greatest day. It was his first day in the league. He maybe felt some jitters because he
Yeah, but
people
when
looked at him.
Yeah, but if you're a star, you shine when it comes time to shine. I don't
He
care.
didn't have a
first
great
time.
day.
I don't
I'm
care.
very curious to see him in the future, how he's going to play. He
Well,
looks like a ball player.
So
He's
we got
built like a ball
the
player.
most important part of their team is Jimmy Malach on the mound.
Yeah.
If he throws strikes and he pitches like he pitched in week 2,
Then he'll be okay.
then they could win games and they could probably sneak into the playoffs. And with that lineup, you never know.
I think he was trying to do too much in week 1, and you realized in week 2, you got to trust the defense, and that's the only way you could win.
And finally, the 7th seed is the 0-4 Minutemen.
Okay, now the Minutemen
Now,
is a
Zach
very interesting team.
Ashkenazi's Minutemen. So go ahead, talk about them first.
I'll tell you what, yes, I've seen them. I think they are a little bit of the short end of the stick. Just going into the season, somebody that they drafted.
Catton.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it, but he's not in the league.
His name should not be mentioned, Joe Catton, but
Okay.
disaster. Dropped out after being drafted, so now we're playing catch up with subs
Right.
on their center fielder.
Which usually never works. I mean,
Right.
it's happened in our league in the past. You can get the best player every week, but their heart's not in it. You don't have the camaraderie. Hopefully they pick up a couple of
Listen,
games.
bottom
against
line is
somebody.
they're a game out of the playoffs. So
That's the truth.
You
Now,
have one
another
week and you're
killer
back in it.
was Leo Casson had 2 rendezvous to Mexico that were unexpected. We tried to work the schedule around him, and then something curveball was thrown, and he's got 2 major trips in Mexico. I don't know what he's doing. But I want to know.
I heard he joined the Tijuana Table Dancers.
Okay.
That team over there.
Oh, it was a team. Okay.
Well, the team of table dancers.
Oh, okay.
And listen, Leo put his priorities straight. He obviously is a Tijuana table dancer. Yeah, straight, very straight. We hope. No, yeah, for sure. And bottom line is,
Anyway, he's going to be missing this week. We have a pitcher coming in. They're 0-4, but one thing I'll say about this 0-4, I think every game was a 1-run game.
right? They definitely could have won all 4
Now, it's
games.
interesting. Usually you'll say, we're missing our pitcher and things are light and it's not working, but their
I think,
defense has
Bob,
been great.
Seriously speaking, Nemi Cat's got to grab the ball and start pitching when Leo's not there. Their defense definitely
The defense was good. No, the defense was strong. Zach is amazing at short.
Zach is the man.
Short.
We know Zach.
Their outfield has been good. Billy Miz out there in center and Elliott Mann, which Joe Greenberg's actually on this.
Right.
Joe Greenberg's on this team.
Right, this joke.
No, it's not. I'm sorry.
No.
I apologize.
No, he's subbing for this team.
He's subbing for the team maybe
So
tomorrow.
now you have, bottom line is you have Billy Miz who can play center field. You have the kids come up with big spots every now and then.
Let's elaborate a little bit more on this. They're
They're an 0-17. They're a 7th place team right now, so there's really not much positive to talk about them right now. But they definitely have glimmers of hope, and they definitely can steal
a lot of
game
young
here.
guys. This kid Isaac Abukai has got a real bat. Zach himself is great. I think they could pull out wins. Nemi himself. Nemi's having a terrible
He's
start.
having struggling at the plate major.
And
So.
in the night league, he's never this big. I mean, he's really. I think you need to, with the joke around town.
Yeah, but you know what? He's going up against two. He's going up against this coming up week.
Against Ralph Sutton right now.
I think if you look at the stats from last year, Nemi had 7 RBIs against Ralph Sutton last year.
Possible, and to give Nemi credit, now the YMSL is over. His team is out, and he has full rest. I think he's going to come in with strong legs under himself.
I think that's enough
Great
talking
play.
about the worst team in the league. So,
Give him a little extra.
so
time.
yeah, too much extra time. So now.
Tomorrow night it is.
No, basically that's
We're
the
not
run.
gonna go through,
that's the rundown of from 1 through 7. That's the mid-season report, and
To
hopefully.
sum it up really quick, just
Mhm.
to give out one idea, to me it looks like right now it's 1, 2, 3. It seems like we already know. I don't know the order, but it's going to be the Legends of the Fall, Winner, and Curse of the Building.
And then we're gonna
Look
have
at the cream of the
a
crop
dog
on
fight
top.
for the last playoff spot.
Right.
And
Well, 2 spots, 4 and 5.
right, and then exactly, and then
And everybody else is 4 of the teams
Everybody's
fighting for those 2 spots.
there's a reason to show up and play hard every game.
Which is great now is the top 3 teams want to fight to get that 1 seed because they want to play whoever's fighting.
right.
And those bottom guys want the 4 and 5 because as you guys know, the way our league is set up,
The format.
the format we have is 4 plays 5, a 1-game playoff to get into the semifinals.
Right, so that-
into the playoffs.
Right. So either way, the next time we're going to be talking to you, hopefully we'll be closer to when the playoff picture is a little more clear.
Even more clear.
We're gonna preempt it, and then we're gonna have hopefully we'll have a clearer picture then, a few weeks from now.
It's been a pleasure.
either
Now,
way-
one quick last thought. Maybe I shouldn't say forget about it. I don't want to say what I was about to say.
All right, you got it.
Okay. Over and out, basically.
All right, guys.
Enjoy.
stay real.
I'll see you. And the co-commits is going to shut the camera.